so we were doing grips. We've done it pretty much every time we do Shuai Jiao, you have to do grips, right? So you have the same collar side, you have the cross on the collar side, and you have the sleeve grips. And those are usually the ones that I do. I usually say that we don't want to do this one, right, high up, even though like Shuai Jiao books will show you this, a lot of people will show you this. I don't do it that often because I don't think it's that useful, right? And for example, one reason is that you can kind of see, sticking my thumb in there, you grab, it's not super strong, right? It's hard, I can't really roll the collar in like I can do here, where I roll the collar, like we're here where I roll the collar. And also, he can do basically what is a duck under, which is that he kind of bends his knees and puts his head on the other side. Yeah, and then if he pushes into me,
to the arm,
right, kind of more at a 45-degree angle.
Into the arm.
Exactly. Right, and it kind of locks my wrist and my arm, right? He can actually even put his hand on my elbow as he does that. Exactly. Right? So, I'm not a big fan of this grip. However, you know what, because traditionally, the bear low starts like this. So we're going to do first the traditional one, and I'm going to talk to you about what I think is the more practical one. And sometimes tradition, like people do things because their teacher did it, and their teacher's teacher did it, and their teacher's teacher did it, and nobody knows why. And I'll tell you a traditional story also, I'm going to get past this, just to prove the point. But I'm here. So, you know how Bob would push people, would pull so that they would fall backwards? This is like pushing. So I'm going to get my hand on the belt here. So what happens is, this one pushes and this one pulls. And sometimes that's enough to make them fall. Right? If not, then you have it becomes a combination of techniques, because this is low, which is body locking, and then there's Xiao, which is leg hooking. And then if I do that, he falls. I'm here, this pushes, this pulls. So like I said, this is pulling and pushing, right? There's a solo form of everything in Shuai Jiao, which is interesting, because we don't have forms, but we have like little, either singular postures or like singular movements, stepping. And so, for example, you see this, right? And what's interesting about these things also is that they can be several ones, because this can also be knee wheel and a bunch of other things. But pushing, pulling, and hooking. So, again, I push, that's not going to be enough for him, but if I pull, sometimes that's enough. But if not, then I have that, and I'm catching him at the calf, not at the knee. If you just bend the knee, it's not, that's what it does, right? But if I catch the calf, see how it comes up? So in other words, if I do this, and I get him slick bend, but I just make his knee bend, right? Yeah, exactly, you feel like you're not gonna fall, right? But when I did it this way, see how I slide it out? So, again, this is a traditional one. I want you to practice it and know it, but I'm gonna show you one that's probably a little more combat applicable next. Like I said, this starts with this. And so in theory, like, we're wrestling and I go like this, but like I said, I don't like this grip because it's not very strong and it opens. It's a big reach. It's a big reach, yeah. I guess theoretically, you'd be like here, and I could do this and do this. But this is why I tend to think this is tradition and not necessarily how you're really going to see things. More honestly, when you're wrestling, sometimes you get these kind of positions and you're pummeling, right? And so maybe we need to pummel a little bit. Ideally, right? Here you'll see this, right? This is the outside, and this is the inside. I want to be on the inside. That's where I have the most amount of control. So in other words, I don't want to grab him like this because he has control. He has control, exactly. So when we're here, I have one on the inside, but I have one on the outside. Same thing. I want to get, let me just show up. I want to get two on the inside. Now, of course, since he knows that, that's why when I put this one in, he put the other one in. So now we go back to having one on the outside and one on the inside, right? So it's a game to try to get two on the inside, but it's not an easy game because the other person knows the same things. You know, what's good for me is bad for him, and what's good for me, if he can get the same thing, is good for him, so he'll pummel in. So we pummel, right? The easiest way to pummel is like you're punching lesions, put your hand on your chest, and like judo chop down into the arm, so that you go in, and you'll move your shoulders as you do it, right? Because if I just sit here like this, look stiff, I gotta kind of snake my body, right? But what I'm trying to do is get two arms on the inside, and then we'll get to this better version of low or body locking, right? So this one, body locking. This is the traditional way, but it doesn't mean that it's what's going to really happen. And we have one clear example of this also, which is that there is a technique in Shuai Jiao that everyone knows, everyone shows, right? And everyone also says the same thing. Cheng Deng Dong Sheng taught it and said, I've never seen anyone ever do this for real. So then the question is, why do we do it then? Tradition. All right, but we're gonna pummel first. So that's the next thing I want you to do, pummel, okay? Pummeling, you'll see in every kind of grappling. You'll see it in Western wrestling, you'll see it in judo, you'll see it in sambo, you'll see it in everything. So it's very practical, it's realistic, it's something that actually happens. It's not something that, you know, is manufactured in a martial arts school, like, this will happen and it never happens. If I get two hands on the inside, right? What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to lock out with low. The idea is it's a body lock because you're locking out the lower back, the spine. So I can come around and pull in, right? Now, sometimes with my chest I can do it. But remember I also told you that your head is your third arm. So sometimes you will see the head use the push, which is I'll get my head kind of below his head and push into him with the head. So, right? So this is practical because you can get it from the pummel. And again, once I'm here, if I feel like I need extra, I can always maybe come on this side so we can see. Actually, we'll start from the pummel, right? So in other words, we're here, right? And there's a million ways you can get here, but we start pummel, right? And I just want to get in. There's a couple of different ways I can hold. I happen to like this grip. And again, if I have to, I use my head. See how my head is using it? It's like my third arm? Yes. It's pushing him back while I pull him in. And if I have to, I will. Okay? So this is also low with Xiao. This is Xiao. It's a hooking motion on the outside of the leg. They call them sickles. There's an inside sickle and an outside sickle. This is an outside sickle. This is very practical. This is the way that we will see low done over and over and over again. And you'll see it done in, like I said, every kind of grappling, not just in Shuai Jiao. Okay? Obviously, when you throw somebody, be careful of your surroundings. Don't do it right next to a metal pole. We'll be all right. Let's go. So, the one thing to realize is that this is low body lock and then shout. Right? People see the sickle hooks and they get sort of like enamored by them and they don't remember what the context is. I don't want to be like here, for example, without the body lock and do this. I'm standing on one leg, all right? So if he's upright and I'm upright and I'm standing on one leg, who has the power? I would just drive you straight back. Right? No, it's the only time I do a sickle hook is when I've already got him off balance. So in other words, if I get in here and I get that body lock and I twist him back, right? And again, if I have to, use my head to sickle him, right? But it's gotta be twisted back before I do that sickle.